Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at Miss New Babel. Miss New Babel is currently a rate up banner character for the time of filming at least. I think she's quite underrated. She's going to get something helpful for her in the next patch, so let's have a look at her kit. She's primarily a shielder and a follow-up attacker, so her first incantation, A New Wave, will give all allies a shield, scaling off of her reality defense for 2 rounds. She has an incredibly high reality defense and also a really high base HP, which is very helpful for taking and tanking some hits. Her next incantation, An Old Idea, is a single target attack scaling from her attack and also her reality defense as Genesis damage. From level 2 onwards, it will actually generate 1 additional Moxy for Miss New Babel as long as you are shielded, so that is very important, you'll see later. Her ultimate, The Future is Near. She will enter a taunt state where enemies will primarily attack her. When she is attacked, she will retaliate and issue a follow-up attack that is considered an extra action. This is the core of her kit, that's why her incantations kind of cycle through. Shield herself, use a level 2 incantation, get Moxy, and then get your ultimate cycling up really well. Her insights, she will give herself Guarding Instinct, which will stack reality defense by 5%. Insight 2, damage taken -8. And Insight 3, once she's gained 15 of the Guarding Instincts from Insight 1, she will enter Loyal Partner, which guarantees her to have 25% reality defense and she cannot lose Moxy. For her portraits, I'm very lucky. I have her at P1, and basically none of her portraits are particularly amazing. They basically just strengthen her shield and strengthen the follow-up attacks and her base thing. Nothing crazy. Some of these new characters are getting real crazy portraits. Miss New Babel's are pretty standard. Nothing really to go crazy for. Now let's have a look at her best Psychubes. At the moment, at the time of filming, Hopscotch is her best one as it buffs her incantation might, which is where she can do some extra damage. Ultimate might is not helpful for her, it doesn't affect her follow-up attacks. If you're using her as a solo sustain or some type of special mechanic, you could also use her with his Bounden Duty. Gives her a 12% damage bonus and also healing if she manages to defeat the enemies, but she's probably not going to be reliably proccing this. Some people use her with Thunderous Applause if they want to run a crit build. To me, honestly, I've tried this out. It's not the best for her. I do much prefer Hopscotch. Luckily, from 1.4, we'll be getting Silent and Adoring, which is a new free to obtain Psychube. This is primarily for the new characters, but actually it works really well for Miss New Babel. It's going to help her get a 12% damage bonus and some Genesis boost to her attacks. Now let's have a look at some showcases, some team ideas for Miss New Babel. As I spoke about, she is primarily a shielder, but she can do some decent damage. She can tank hits, and I find a good success for New Babel being with teammates that can self-sustain. If you want to run a mono mineral team, this is an example of a very, very offensive one with Mondlik and Eternity. Mondlik and Eternity can heal themselves and New Babel can keep herself alive. It's actually quite a lot of fun. All of the testing and all of the showcases in this are done in Limbo 4. I'll be completely honest, if you want to run Miss New Babel, she's a good character. She, at the moment, is not amazing damage-wise. She's helpful for some enemies that, like the Butcher, for example, that have a lot of follow-up attacks where she can kind of lash back at them. But in stages like that, you do really want to have a healer to back you up. So this team concept for Miss New Babel is she's there shielding, she's helping the 2 other team members stay alive, and she's adding her own damage as well. And Mondlik is quite helpful here because she can offer some reality defense down. A lovely commenter actually asked me to make this video, so they actually asked me to do Black Dwarf and Balloon Party with Miss New Babel, and I was going to do that, and I've tested out that team. It's quite fun. Just for me, I feel like there always needs to be a character that's reducing defense or giving some type of debuff or a negative stat or something to kind of take away some of the beefier enemy stuff. So Monolith works really well here as being someone who offers that while also being mineral. You could of course use other characters like Tenet. We know if you watch my channel, we love Tenet here. Any type of options here are okay. For most of these showcases, I have tried to keep it to mineral only characters, as when you get into Limbo, it's more important that you get more of that damage bonus from having the Rite of Flatus in your team. So Balloon Party was there. Yeah, Eternity does most of the damage, but Miss New Babel, she soaks up 64% of that. She shielded 64% of it rather. The next team we're looking at, this is like the hyper buff kind of fun team. You can use Black Dwarf with Pickles if you have Pickles. They're both mental damage, and Miss New Babel is reality damage. So Pickles luckily can buff both of them, and Miss New Babel can keep them alive with the shields, and Black Dwarf can offer some leech and self-sustain as well. This team, it does not work in higher floors of Limbo. This is Limbo 4. I tested it in Limbo 6 and it does not sustain well enough there, but for 90% of the rest of the content, a team like this, Miss New Babel rather, sorry ma'am, Miss New Babel can take care of your team sustain pretty reliably. Unfortunately for my Black Dwarf, she is not the most well invested into. I have her at just Resonant 6. My new Miss Babel is at Resonant 10. Pickles is at Resonant 8 as of the time of recording. And if my voice sounds a bit different, in Japan at the moment it is the early hay fever season and the tree pollen is absolutely destroying me. So apologies if it's a bit harder to hear or understand. Miss New Babel did not do much damage, but the healing, by the way, is shielding, yeah. But she actually, she was able to tank 6,000 health for the team, which is quite nice. This next team is a bit of fun. This Leilani is not mineral, but she's one of the characters that helps to generate Moxy for the team. And I tend to find that Necrologist and New Babel are quite Moxy hungry, or at least they want to get their ultimates up as soon as possible and as frequently as possible. So the idea behind this team is Necrologist will revive your team members if they fall down. She'll also buff Leilani and Miss New Babel's damage. And New Babel will kind of be able to shield, and if those shields are not strong enough with tankier enemies, then Necrologist's revive will help out the team to get through. Leilani's here for a bit of extra damage and her wonderful, wonderful Moxy generation abilities. Unfortunately, my Necrologist is only at Resonant 4, so she's not doing the most damage, but some people might ask as well with New Babel if I would recommend getting her to I3. To be honest, she's not a priority to get to I3 because you can attain 25% reality defense for her by just being hit 5 times. The main benefit of it is for her I3 is having her Moxy protection basically. For myself, I haven't really noticed much of it, but I have just really well invested into Miss New Babel because I love myself an underdog, and she was the second 6-star that I got in this game, and I just remember seeing so many content creators shitting on her and being like, nope, she's awful, she's unplayable, and then I thought, you know what, just to spite you, I'm gonna make her one of my go-to characters, and she's really reliable. Unfortunately, in the showcases, I was not able to record something with New Babel and Bet. I do have a video on my channel with Miss New Babel and Bet. I really love Bet. She's a fantastic character, but with Limbo, Bet doesn't offer enough for the whole team to she doesn't do enough damage to have a place, and she really only buffs New Babel, and New Babel doesn't do enough damage to just be like a hyper carry that Bet can kind of support. But I'm hoping that in 1.4, when we get the new Psychube, that Miss New Babel's gonna get some buffs, and I'll be making a video on that as soon as those things are available and global. Okay, so as you can see, Leilani and Miss New Babel did quite a lot of damage, and yeah, this is just pretty much a fun team. This next one's a bit of a meme team. It's a full counter team. Balloon Party can obviously heal, but also she offers counter through her Balloon Party ability, and Voyager offers a counter as well. So this one, you know, it's not going to be the best in Limbo 6, but again, like others, it's pretty fun to just kind of watch your enemies just obliterate themselves with counters. And I think this one might be a lot more fun in 1.4 as well. If you have these characters, it's definitely worth a shot. And the fun of this is that we literally win the battle by just a character knocking itself out. New Babel did most of that damage though, and she shielded a lot. She shielded more than Balloon Party healed, which is pretty amazing. Alright, let's have a look at the builds of the characters that you've seen in the video so far. But I hope this has been helpful with Miss New Babel, giving you some ideas. Of course, these are like specifically teams for Limbo or just mineral characters. You can use Miss New Babel as a standard shielding follow-up attack support in almost any team. She's never going to be your main DPS, and I think honestly, as much as I love her as a character, choosing to use Miss New Babel is a choice that you're making to kind of say, I'm not doing meta, I'm not doing the strongest stuff, but I'm gonna have fun and use a character that's decently capable at keeping me alive and doing some damage as well. I'm excited to see what 1.4 is going to bring to her with the new Psychube, and what new teams are possible as well, because the characters 6 and 37 are going to be pretty fun as well. If you guys have any Miss New Babel teams that you like using, let me know in the comments, and I might work on a showcase video with her as well once 1.4 comes out and she gets her new Psychube. But if you have her now, honestly, I think 1.4 her stocks are going to rise. Start to build her if you want. She might be a great unit for you, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!